This episode is full of ungodly amounts of flexes, violations and all sorts of disrespect coming from every angle. No one was safe in this episode. So let me break down these diabolical fatalities for you guys. First flex of the episode, Toji's existence. The granny who summoned Toji into her grandson's body must have been got blue-fold because her ignorant ass didn't realize that Toji is him. You don't simply use Toji for your own ambitions, because if you do, then you better be willing to pay the price. And that price was Granny's retirement from life. Toji basically said, I got one more in me, and now he's got full control over his body again, so he's basically living his second life now. And you can only imagine what type of carnage he is about to cause over the next couple of episodes. Second violation, all of Nobara's screen time. You might be wondering how Nobara got into this situation, while all she can do is helplessly watch as this businesswoman gets her left butt cheek poked out of existence by this crazy guy right here. Let's just back up a bit. Naobito is too busy drinking up all the booze like a true bloke, so Maki's fully occupied slaving away at these cursed beasts. This means that work needed to be delegated to Nobara, so she was sent out to survey the surroundings with this cannon fodder and stumbled into Haruta, and so they fought each other. You know what? I wouldn't even consider this a fight. Nobara did so bad in this fight that not even the animation could make her look good. I didn't realize how sloppy and slow she was. It was kind of embarrassing how easily this guy was toying with her, because he's not even supposed to be that strong, to be honest. Honestly, if I was Nobara, I would just leave the show straight up and maybe join a circus or something, because there's no coming back from that clown performance. I didn't even realize how hard Itadori and Megumi carried Nobara until now. It's crazy. This leads us into violation number 3, Nanami's get back. Big bro Nanami had to step in to help, and he was pissed. It was in this episode where I realized that there's levels to this game, and Nanami just happens to be at the top of the food chain. Look at the way he starts boxing off this guy and goes straight into interrogating him. I can't lie, I started giggling with how intense Nanami was acting. Look at bro's face as he starts grabbing Haruta's ponytail. The detail is crazy. If I was Haruta, I think I would start crying, because Nanami all of a sudden looks like an abusive father. And where did bro get that Rolex from? You know, for someone who likes to bring up how broke he is, he seems to be wearing some expensive drip, and he's a first grade sorcerer, right? So he's probably making crazy money. It really makes you think, what is Nanami always yapping about? Nobara helped a bit, I guess. She hit the surprise sword attack away, but we all know Nanami saw that coming, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, after Nobara's disappointing performance, it's no wonder Nanami had to personally bench her for the rest of the arc.
Get the fuck out of here, little nigga. Take that dumb shit with you.
Flex number 4, Mei Mei made this fairy praise her before she beheaded him. As you expected, Mei Mei low-diffed these two, but she didn't stop there. She started monologuing and gaslighting this fairy into applauding her for being superior for no reason, and then, just as he thought he had a sliver of hope, she banished him to the afterlife. Luck wasn't on Mei Mei's side today, however, because this leads us into flex number 5, Kenjaku conjuring a cursed spirit to fight Mei Mei instead of himself. This stuff right here is very reminiscent of Madara. You know that one scene where he's like, do you want to fight 5 Susanoo or 1 Susanoo? This is basically the situation she's facing right now. Whenever a villain does this to you, just know you are a little pesky fly to them, and they have no form of respect for you. So while she's getting excited about fighting for her life against 1% of Kenjaku's power, he's dipped, knowing full well that her ass cannot beat it. But who knows, maybe Mei Mei will prove us wrong. After Itadori and his girlfriend Megumi split up, he ran into Choso, and I'm so hyped. I need that new Jujutsu Kaisen episode right now. Itadori vs Choso is such a good fight. The slaves at Mappa better be on their A game, or they will feel the wrath of me and my 53 subscribers. The episode starts with Mechamaru trying to tell Itadori and Mei Mei that Gojo is being sealed away, but Itadori's goofy ass keeps shutting him down with his MMA skills. Something pretty interesting happens next. Geto's body tries to fight back against Kenjaku when Gojo cheers him on, which raises a question. Is Geto still alive? Because if he is, then I feel so sorry for him. This guy hates cursed spirits with every fiber of his being. so getting his body taken over by the likes of Kenjaku is the ultimate punishment, but he doesn't even deserve. The Jujutsu Kaisen cast needs to free Geto and Gojo as soon as possible. We all know that in terms of Jujutsu Kaisen power scaling, Mahito, Jogo and Choso are top tier, so it's pretty crazy how Gojo's 0.1 second domain expansion put all these guys out of commission for a very long time. It really puts into perspective how ridiculous the power level difference is between these guys and Gojo. After Kenjaku and Gojo are finally done yapping to each other, Gojo finally gets sealed away. See you in 100 plus chapters, buddy. It's been nice knowing you. Mimi and her little bro will take care of the curses in the subway while Itadori escapes to the outside so he can check on everybody in Shibuya. I hope she gets a fight. I'm curious what her abilities are. She already seems to be extremely intelligent, so that just makes me even more intrigued on how Mimi will fight. There's a lot of POVs to cover in this episode, so let's take a look at what Mechamaru's doing. Oh, classic. He's snitching again. Basically what he found out is that Kenjaku's team can't move the creepy eyeball ceiling box until Gojo's data is fully copied, so Kenjaku is going to stay in the subway to protect the box. This means there's still a chance for all the sorcerers in Shibuya to free Gojo. This just makes the arc setup even more fire. However, Jogo, Choso and Mahito are gonna leave the subway to hunt Itadori and the other sorcerers, whilst the other sorcerers are going to be trying to free Gojo, which will lead to all sorts of dream matchups in one of the most goated battle royales in all of anime. Now that Mahito and the other two have joined the hunt, it's just Kenjaku in the station. Oh, so before, in the Jujutsu Kaisen 0 movie, Geto had his own squad, and in that squad were 2 girls. After the ending events of the Jujutsu Kaisen 0 movie, they'd been doing Kenjaku's bidding, because they had a deal that Kenjaku will give Geto back his body if the 2 girls followed his orders, and of course Kenjaku scammed those 2 naive girls. They should have come up with a better plan because their screen time was completely pointless. How are you getting played like a fiddle with some of the most obvious tricks in the book in 2023? That's embarrassing. Time to go back to Itadori's POV. As he makes it out into the streets of Shibuya, there's lots of cursed spirits roaming the area, from grunts to weirdos stabbing businessmen whilst making the most goofy noises ever. This isn't One Piece, bro, cut it out. And Mappa decided to go off on the animation for a bit when Itadori was destroying some fodder, as he worked his way up to the top of the building so that he could call out to Nanami like Itadori some sort of bat signal. Yo, Nanami, Gojo got packed, now everybody knows he's a fraud. Megumi, Itadori, Nanami and this guy and this cat are now reunited, and that's pretty much the end of the episode. Not much really happened, it was all mainly set up for what's to come. But before I end the video, let's just acknowledge this guy right here. I don't have any hate towards him or anything, but you've got to admit that he looks like a S tier NPC. He reminds me of those goons you see in LEGO games, and by the end of the episode I still don't know his name. I like how season 2 just starts off with some nasty cursed spirit molesting a corpse for a painful 10 seconds that I will never get back. And then for what feels like half of the episode, we just watch Iori shitting herself as she explores a haunted house, holding a flashlight like she's a normal girl, whilst Mimi is constantly trolling her. How are you gonna have Iori unravel such a deep puzzle with so much enthusiasm just to blankly tell her she's wrong? It's insane how much Iori got cooked in this episode, because then she starts running around like a clown just for Gojo to finally make his long awaited appearance, and then everyone starts throwing all sorts of violations at her. She was getting cooked so much that there was nothing but ashes left of her remains. She's even getting overcharged by Mei for their mission taking 2 days.
It was sure nice of Mr. Krabs to give me a job.
And at $50 an hour, too. When I started working here, I had to pay Mr. Krabs $100 an hour. Hey, Squidward!
This is some crazy unnecessary slander. Geto and Gojo's dynamic is something else. They started off episode 2 with Geto trolling some goon who was getting his backside blown out by another cursed spirit. I swear we saw this in episode 1 as well. But we're just gonna see this repeat in every single episode. It's getting a bit crazy. And then you just see Gojo trolling and posing on another one of his fallen enemies because he's too overpowered. And then all of a sudden Gojo and Geto start ripping apart Rico like they just met each other. Even in the opening you can just see them riding bicycles together, running around like speds, spreading their autism around the town. We can go further back into episode 1 as well, where Gojo destroys Geto in basketball. These two are just so overpowered, we don't need to take anything seriously. Jujutsu Kaisen has some crazy power when it comes to anime fans' ability to simp. It's like the fans can sense the cursed of the certain characters themselves. The moment Gojo appeared in episode 1, people were riding him like he was a horse. Don't get me wrong, he is a great character, but people were claiming all sorts of stuff, like he could beat Goku. And then Toji came along. This guy has to be one of the smartest and at the same time dumbest anime characters I've seen in a battle shonen. Like, how do you forget you have a son? I bet Toji has at least 50 children scattered around Japan, and he's probably too carefree to even realize because he used all his brain cells to destroy Gojo. Toji is definitely just made the list for top 5 worst anime dads, and that's a really hard thing to do. Anyways, after a whole lot more trolling from Gojo and Geto, some fights start to finally break out where Geto starts brutally beating up this elderly man for way longer than he needed to, causing him to have his life flash before his eyes. Meanwhile, Gojo's grown ass was busy raising up some middle schoolers, so this NPC wearing a paper bag decided to get involved. If this situation didn't sound ridiculous enough, then they decided to grab a maid with the craziest bow staff and broom skills and have her box against the paper bag NPC by almost preventing him the ability to gift the world with 50 paper bag children like Toji. But luckily that was just one of his shadow clones. The paper bag guy had bigger issues to worry about, like protecting a bunch of underage girls from the predator, Gojo. I'm not gonna lie, Paper Bag Man's ability is kind of fire. Although he can only produce 5 shadow clones at once, he can switch his real body to any one of them whenever he wants to, which is really smart. But Gojo is right, having such a good ability like that doesn't mean anything if you're weakling, so naturally the paper bag NPC becomes a victim of Gojo as he tries to master his abilities. So yeah, after episode 2 ended on a crazy cliffhanger where Misato got kidnapped, you would have thought this kidnapping would be an integral part to the arc, but not really. Just minutes later and Gojo and the gang are flying over to Okinawa to save Misato by merely breaking and entering. I'm not sure what the point of that was, but it was funny regardless. I find it crazy how easily the creator of Jujutsu Kaisen can shift the atmosphere of this arc so perfectly. There's literally a dragon level threat looming over Gojo and his friends, and yet they are all ignoring all their responsibilities by having fun on the beach and biking Riko's food. The coolest character in Jujutsu Kaisen, Nanami, also appears, and even though he got told to stay in the airport for an indefinite amount of time, like he's Gojo's girlfriend, all that matters is that he looked cool doing it. Episode 3 was insane. After all of that light-hearted slice of life, I did not expect to see the strongest character in Jujutsu Kaisen get stabbed right through his body. Now, do you remember when I said that Toji was both smart and dumb and then failed to further explain how Toji was smart? Because I didn't know how to properly fit that explanation into the script? Yeah, well, this is how. If a living embodiment of prep time existed, then that would be none other than Toji Fushiguro. This man has been plotting Gojo's downfall since he was a little boy, and during the 3 days that had gone by, Toji had been sending the most powerful brooms he could get his hands on, like that paper bag NPC, to Gojo, so that he will have no other choice but to stay on edge and be alert until Riko is eventually safe. This has led to Gojo getting no sleep to the point where even someone as invincible as him is no longer a threat to the Batman of the Jujutsu Kaisen universe. Toji's plotting doesn't even end there. He set out multiple traps to destroy Gojo. Toji just keeps grabbing more and more surprises from his inventory like he's a Minecraft character, whilst he's fighting some stupidly overpowered guy. And whilst I was watching this insanely fluid animated fight that the locked up prisoners at Mappa cooked up for us, I just kept getting constantly more and more impressed with Toji's performance. Like, where the hell did Toji get all these insects from? His battle IQ is insane, and then the way he just endlessly slashed away at Gojo, man, that was brutal. It makes me think to myself that maybe I'm becoming a Toji simp as well. And then out of nowhere, Toji just grabs his regular ass gun and bops Riko into the afterlife. She had really grown on me, and I thought she was gonna get through this assimilation business, but I forgot. Jujutsu Kaisen isn't your average shonen. This anime doesn't pull its punches and avoid death like the majority of other new gens nowadays. And you know what? After watching a good friend of yours get shot with a Toji Glock special right in front of your eyes, can you really blame Geto for going on a villain arc? He's a really great character and I can't help but sympathize with him. After Toji's mastermind plan was pulled off flawlessly, he instantly began to start cooking Geto. I'm sure we all knew Geto was about to get absolutely obliterated. He is the equivalent of Gojo's girlfriend in this situation, so he really stood no chance. It's crazy if you think about it. Toji absolutely demolishes two of the strongest Jujutsu sorcerers we have seen up to this point, back to back, by using his brains and his brawn. I mean, this guy doesn't even have any curse techniques, and yet he's a force to be reckoned with. He's just slashing people up and shooting them like a normal human. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if people start saying Toji could be Goku with prep time. I find it crazy that after that insane performance Toji pulled off, he, for no reason, remembers why he has a son. Why now of all times? It's that combination of sped behavior and critical thinking that makes Toji a GOAT, not to mention how cold his fighting abilities and IQ are. No wonder the crazy cultist guy gave Toji a bonus. He really went above and beyond. And then out of nowhere, Gojo comes back from the depths of hell, looking like some high zombie, and completely catches Toji off guard. I guess me and Toji both forgot that Gojo was simply that guy. And whilst Toji is putting up a good effort, it's all for nothing. Gojo's too busy floating around in the air, ruining some of the coldest moments in the manga, to give a shit about Toji's efforts. Gojo's being so stupidly overpowered that it even triggers a classic 30-second anime backstory for poor Toji, so you all know what happens when something ominous like that starts playing. But you know what? Toji's death was really goated, and he had that whole white-beard type of death going for him, where he just stands there, looking like a beast, and it's befitting for someone like him. The main takeaways from episode 5 that you need to know about is that Geto hates monkeys and Nanami got cock-blocked for the past 5 episodes. Also, as we saw, episode 4 portrayed the I am the honored one scenes quite hard, but I think that episode 5 brings it back with the are you the strongest because you're Gojo Satoru discussion. That's a pretty significant scene and it was done very well. I haven't been able to sleep all week. It's true, knowing that Itadori and Choso were about to have one of the standoffs of all time, Jujutsu Kaisen has been in my head rent-free. The way the episode starts off, it felt like Itadori had triggered a boss fight cutscene. I was ecstatic. You guys are probably thinking, after Nanami's outburst, there's no way someone can have worse anger issues than him, but that's where you're wrong, my viewers, because Choso is standing face to face with the man who packed his 2 little brothers. Now, if I was Choso, I wouldn't let that slide down. Choso wasted no time and pierced Itadori's wrist, and that shit was gushing all over. But before Choso could continue disciplining Itadori, he started asking if his brothers left behind any last words before Nobara started emoting on them, and Itadori's autistic ass started bragging that he made them cry, which immediately forced Choso to start his long as hell attack. But Itadori wasn't having none of that, so he just rugby tackled the guy. Shit got crazy after that, and by crazy I mean the animation budget was getting abused to the max. Choso was pulling out insane blood manipulation combos, and honestly, Itadori was just outmatched at this point. Basically, Choso got Itadori into quite the predicament, so Itadori turned on Ultra Instinct and started closing the distance. He almost got a punch in, but then Choso was all like supernova and Itadori continued to get violated. Did you really need to stab bro's feet? Choso was piecing up Itadori to the max. Itadori landed a nice counter after that, but all he's done is merely bruise Choso at this point, whereas Itadori looks like he's about to join Gojo in the Hall of Frauds. Let's all face it, Itadori did get put on fraud watch in that episode, but can you blame him? Look at this insane frame. The animators didn't need to go this hard. Choso's bloodlusted silhouette in this scene had me thinking he could wipe out all of Shibuya with how menacing he was here. When all hope was lost, the MVP Snitch of the Year, Mechamaru, made his appearance and he was carrying Itadori. Mechamaru might unironically be the funniest character in Jujutsu Kaisen. Whenever this little device starts speaking, just know that your deepest secrets are getting revealed without hesitation from this guy because it's second nature to him. Whilst Itadori Itadori had taken several beatings from Choso, Mechamaru formulated a game plan where Itadori runs into the girls' toilets so Choso can chase himself into their trap. It was a clutch trap, I'm not gonna lie, because Choso's power specializes in blood manipulation, so Mechamaru and Itadori took a gamble that they could nerf Choso by bursting all the pipes and force him to fight Itadori in a room flooded with water. You can't just simply trick a suspicious Choso into the girls' toilets, you need to instigate him, so leave it to the MVP Mechamaru. Now that Choso could only use half of his powers and was forced into hand-to-hand combat, Itadori had dragged him down into his turf. This was going to be a brutal battle. As amazing as this episode and fight is, Itadori got disrespected like crazy. Choso's a sorcerer and it isn't supposed to be that good at hand-to-hand combat, but he was still overpowering Itadori. However, those few hits Itadori sneaks in on Choso were brutal and taking their toll, so Choso uses this move called Blood Meteorite to turn the tables yet again. It's impressive how vast his abilities and moveset is, even when he is capped at 40% power. Meanwhile, Itadori is out here using every MMA technique known to man. I respect Itadori. Even if he got packed up, he was so close to passing out so many times during the fight, but he knew he couldn't lose and allow Choso to cause more chaos in Shibuya, so his objective went from saving Gojo to taking his opponent down with him. And from then on, the fight shifted from a fight between sorcerers to a war between boxers. I'm serious. This was some high level stuff. They were both pushing their fighting IQ to the max by utilizing feints, their strengths, and in Itadori's case, the environment, which was amazing to watch. The choreography of this episode was mind-blowing. I think I just witnessed peak animation. This is cinema. Itadori hadn't been using his left hand the entire fight to subconsciously make Choso think that Itadori had injured it, but this was all a part of his trap to catch Choso off guard, and somehow Choso saw through that and countered with his elbow, and then used the opportunity to finish off Itadori with more blood manipulation, which sent Itadori flying into a wall. And to my surprise, Itadori straight up lost. I did not see that coming, but then again, it's stuff like this brutal episode that sets Jujutsu Kaisen apart from other battle shonens, and that's why we continue to glaze this masterpiece in the making. Now that Choso had fully bodied Itadori, he grabbed him and he was going to force Itadori to apologize for giving his brothers back shots. But when Choso looked into Itadori's eyes, he saw Sukuna staring him down and Choso started crying. Sukuna was having none of it. He had to let Choso know that they are not in the same league, and this gave Choso so much trauma that he recovered memories, or should I say fabricated memories, because this shit can't be real. Why is Itadori feeding Choso spaghetti? What is going on? Did Todo take over the episode and start gaslighting us again? This fight is the best in the anime so far, and it's not even debatable. But I know some of you people are going to waffle and somehow make it seem trash. Look at this comment, bro. Some of you guys don't make sense, but it's hilarious, I can't lie. The episode is a 10 out of 10. I'm surprised this fight was so good, to be honest, because the manga fight was a 7 out of 10 at best. So it's crazy how much this fight got elevated, and I'm here for it. I generally don't think any other Jujutsu Kaisen fight will top this one. It's just built different. Itadori got packed, but he gave it his all. I will say this though, Choso's lucky Itadori didn't pull out a black flash, or else his ribs would have shattered like his feelings when Sukuna stared at him. The two girls who Kenjaku manipulated earlier are back and will definitely save Itadori's life, so he'll probably cook later this season. This guy right here has to be the most annoying character in season 2. If you can picture the Shibuya incident arc as a battle royale, then Haruta is without a doubt one of those guys who crouches in the little houses for 10 minutes. It's either that or he's a bush camper. After Haruta almost stole Toji's kill, Megumi was like, nah, if I'm going down, then I'm taking your stationary ass with me. I'm pretty sure this is also the first time I've seen Megumi's depressed ass smile so much. Bro was probably giggling, thinking about how much he's about to abuse Mahoraga for the slightest of inconveniences. Got no fuel? Got to speak to a female? Stubbed your toe? You get where this is going. Mahoraga is extremely menacing. Look at this unit. No wonder Haruta got that PTSD expression on his face. He's reminiscing about the time his dad disciplined him for hiding his report card. I guess it does make sense Haruta is so annoying though, considering his ability is literally locked. which I forget sometimes, but then I'm forced to remember when people like Sukuna come out of nowhere to indirectly protect him. This doesn't change the fact that bro's in a lose-lose situation. His only options are to take back shots from Sukuna or to take back shots from Mahoraga. Enough about this bozo, let's get into the main event. Sukuna vs Mahoraga is such an insane fight for the Jujutsu Kaisen universe because these guys are arguably better than Gojo. I'm just kidding, be clear Gojo. And this fight got some of the most wild animation and OSK combination I've ever seen. It's unbelievable. No wonder the Mappa workers started having mental breakdowns on Twitter, because no other Jujutsu Kaisen episode comes close to this level of production. And I can only imagine there's even better animated episodes ahead of us, assuming we don't get a hiatus. The fight starts off with Mahoraga smacking Sukuna into the closest supermarket so he can grab a meal deal, and then from there on it's more of a you have to be there type of thing. These guys were literally destroying everything around them, which is crazy because Sukuna and Mahoraga must have destroyed half of Shibuya in the process, whether they were in land, water or sky. This episode was basically perfection, but I would like one thing changed. This is probably a personal issue, but I don't like the fact that the narrator sounds like an alien. I know I'm not one to talk, but I find it hard to stay immersed when bro's describing how if it's 5 PM and Mahoraga's ass is 3 inches bigger than Sukuna's, then Sukuna can control Mahoraga's nose hairs, but only when it's raining.
What is blood yapping about, dude?
What I'm trying to say is that if the Jujutsu Kaisen narrator sounded more like the Hunterxhunter narrator, for example, I would be able to stay immersed a lot more easily. So Sukuna turns into an English teacher for a second and does a deep dive analysis on the symbolism of that circle on Mahoraga's back and figures out how to get another W on his record. The first thing Sukuna does is uses domain expansion after some Megami glazing and then burns the shit out of Mahoraga along with Shibuya, which used up so much power that Itadori came back to life with a Wojak expression. That makes sense, of course. Imagine coming back into consciousness and the first thing you witness is the destruction of thousands that was caused because of the voices in your head. I just find everything Sukuna has done in season 2 to be extremely messed up, because I find it crazy how Sukuna just ignored any possibility of fully regaining himself right there and then, considering how many opportunities he was presented with and how he decided to throw Itadori to the max instead, which completely ruins any possibility of a future Itadori and Sukuna alliance. This is a lot more realistic, which I like. You won't see any other demon pull this off in any shonen. You know who you are. This episode cooked too hard, so I'm going to do some Sukuna glazing. His abilities and battle IQ are the best in the series. In order to beat Mahoraga, you have to pull off a successful string of moves thick enough that Mahoraga won't be able to adapt to it, like creating a mouth on your throat to bite the homies. But Sukuna decided to finish off Mahoraga with the stand proud, you're strong, special instead. Itadori vomiting and crying is definitely justified. This was a very touching moment, but Itadori knew his only option was thugging it out, even after all the pain he received, which is extremely respectable. The Shibuya crisis was still ongoing, so even if Sukuna ruined Itadori's life, he had to put aside his self-pity potty and lock in because there's still lives to be saved. While all this happened, Haruto was still in one piece.
No. Anyway,
if he survived again, that would just be annoying. Not funny at all. Haruto is that pesky fly that you can't kill but keeps sticking around. All these goats are taking astronomically large L's right now, so this guy just needed to leave at this point. This episode was already heartbreaking, but that post-credit scene was even more devastating. That last Nanami scene is not good. I won't carry on, but if you're an anime only, make sure to barricade your house, because the Jujutsu Kaisen fans don't know what personal privacy is. They will chase you to the ends of the earth to make sure you don't enjoy the show. So if you are a Gojo fan, then this might just be the worst week of your life. Not only is Gojo getting the most diabolical cooking of a lifetime in the manga, he's also just happened to get sealed in the latest episode of Jujutsu Kaisen. This has to be a planned attack by Gege Akutami. I've said this before, but this guy despises Gojo an unhealthy amount. Just watch my show on it if you even care, but this is just adding fuel to the fire. I've never witnessed an anime character get cooked by the internet so hard in my life. If you're not a manga reader, I recommend not using the internet for the next couple of months, because Jujutsu Kaisen spoilers are unavoidable. It genuinely feels more unavoidable when Avengers Endgame spoilers. I was just chilling the other day on TikTok and I was getting bombarded with Jujutsu Kaisen spoiler comments on a completely unrelated video. Keep in mind, I'm a professional spoiler avoider, but this is a different level of autistic lack of social awareness from the Jujutsu Kaisen fanbase. Enough about the manga. Gojo beat Nanami in less than a minute, and it took Itadori and Todo 2+ episodes to hold their ground with this guy, but Gojo turned Lil Bro into a fibrous powder. He will never be seen again. And don't let this distract you from the fact that Geto has planned the most articulate jumping in the history of Jujutsu Kaisen, because Jogo and Choso are already camping in the station waiting for their turn to get bitched on. At least Jogo is self-aware. He was crying his heart out to Geto because he didn't think the gang could survive jumping a nerfed Gojo for 1 minute, which is unnecessary glazing in hindsight. But Choso acting up is even worse. While Jogo's just running for his life, Chojo's just trying to blend into the crowd. This guy is definitely the type of person to dip after seeing his friend get jumped by a grade 4 sorcerer. Now that the first phase of Geto's eyes and tear plot has come to pass, his second phase is underway, where he has kidnapped 1,000 humans into a subway and gotten Mahito to turn them into cursed spirits. Then he'll unleash them until Gojo's spirit is wavering, now that he's been stalled, and mentally wear him down with this massacre. Some people who you could never mentally wear down are Mahito and Jogo. After Mahito jumps out of the subway happy as can be, Jogo lets him know that Gojo squished Nanami into thin air, and both of them couldn't care less if they tried. You know, I like Mahito a lot. I think the author of Jujutsu Kaisen has a talent for making really great villains, and Mahito is the best I've seen so far. He's been built up since season 1, and just episodes ago we saw him have a firefight against Mechamaru. He just gives off a unique personality and it's refreshing. You just know the showdown between Mahito and Itadori is going to be peak fiction. Back to the matter at hand. Geto's 5-step master plan is going smoothly, but even Gojo can clap back with some brilliant moves of his own, like pulling off a 300 IQ move where he uses his domain expansion for 1/10 of a second, which is short enough to cause no lasting damage to normal humans, but it's enough to give Gojo the chance to massacre all 1,000 of the monsters in exactly 299 seconds. I just gotta know, why 299 seconds? Just say 300 seconds. It's insanely annoying when this shit happens. Just round up the number. 299 just feels so unnatural. It's for this reason that I don't really feel that bad for Gojo. He just needs some time to think about his actions in this box, so it's okay to keep him in there for a while. It's not like not being sealed away would do Gojo any good anyways. He's getting cooked on every single platform imaginable. If we're getting real for a second, this imposter Geto plot twist is a masterpiece idea. After watching the Jujutsu Kaisen movie, it must have bugged you. Why is Geto still in the series if you outbodied him? Maybe he barely survived somehow, but nah, this overpowered sorcerer hijacked Geto's corpse, and it makes so much sense. The clues were in front of us all along. Bro's forehead has been stitched up since he was introduced, but never in the hidden inventory arc on the Jujutsu Kaisen movie. This might be my favorite plot twist in all of anime. This episode was kind of a masterpiece, to be honest. It has a real horror vibe going for it, and it works so well considering this arc is happening in Halloween. The Shibuya incident arc is an S tier arc, even compared to the best that battle shonens have to offer, and this episode is just one of the many reasons why. Mahito must be stopped. Why is this guy murdering human after human like his life depends on it? Is he trying to beat Sukuna's kill streak? How big are both of their kill counts at this point, because both of them are pulling off generational performances? This arc is filled with straight up menaces, and Nobara is walking back into Shibuya to get packed. He's literally got banned from helping out because she's a liability. At this point, I don't know whether to call her brave or suicidal. For real though. If Itadori is getting toyed with right now, then what does Nobara think she can do? I will admit, he was doing well fighting Mahito last episode. His fighting IQ was on point, but Mahito knows how to deal with Itadori. You just have to give any human some devious backshots whilst Itadori is preoccupied. So whilst Itadori is drowning in an indescribable emptiness, Nobara is actually fighting really impressively right now. She's floating like a butterfly and stinking like a bee. I have to respect how locked in she is. Then again, after her last embarrassing performance, it's no wonder she's on her A game right now.
Look at this dude. Wait till you see the... No.
By the way, Nobara is fighting the clone of Mahito, and it can't transfigure humans like the original, which is great news because it's undeniable that Nobara is weak as hell compared to all the current sorcerers in Shibuya, so any advantage she can get right now is an absolute must. I definitely take back any Nobara slander I've made this video, because she has insane guts. I had nothing but respect for her when she said, sometimes even if you know you're gonna get packed, you should still take the back shots. Mahito wasn't having any of that profound bullshit, bro. He definitely thinks Nobara is on the spectrum with how ridiculously large the gap in power is between these two, so any justification is not gonna work on him. All these factors with Mahito underestimating Nobara and him not being able to transfigure gave Nobara the opportunity of a lifetime. She was doing some parkour and setting up a large hairpin attack, and when it unleashed, she jumped on top of the clone Mahito and whacked a hammer into his head. The damage went straight to the real Mahito, and Nobara instantly clocked how to take advantage of the situation. She seems to be Mahito's natural weakness, like how Luffy is Enel's natural weakness. So Itadori sees this opportunity and instantly sensed another jumping session beginning and did not let up. Nobara is truly the MVP right now. He reminded Itadori that he's not alone through these actions, so he could focus a lot more on the fight now, without clouded thoughts. The clone Mahito's in a bit of a sticky situation right now, so it's going to be interesting to see how he bounces back. Mahito is a real one for running away. This is why he's such a good character, because he's afraid of women. Nah, for real, if this was any other shonen, Nobara and Mahito would still be fighting right now, but this is Jujutsu Kaisen, where the shonen formula never applied, and anything goes, even being a fraud. Mahito knows Nobara is as slow as old man Martin when he's crossing the road, so running away from her was a breeze. The original Mahito had enough of Itadori jumping him, so he splits up into lots of mini Mahitos to confuse Itadori, and then meets up with the clone Mahito that's running from Nobara, and they switch places. This is crazy because Itadori thought they were going to combine together, but Mahito knows how to deal with Itadori. You just have to give any human some devious backshots whilst Itadori is preoccupied. The Griffith technique, some would say. So the original Mahito, the one who can transfigure humans, focuses on Nobara now and grabs her face. Wait a second, why did the POV suddenly go to Nobara in her childhood days? What's going on? Flashbacks during a fight is a good thing, right? Surely Gege won't kill off another character for the 100th week in a row. This girl really said, how can I be different today? And chose the color bag that she knew everyone hated. Why are you crying? It's literally your fault you got bullied. She's lucky child Nobara was there and traded bags. Kid Nobara is truly a force to be reckoned with. Ever since she put those prepubescent boys on Fraud Watch, she's been chilling in that girl's house, playing games with her dad and getting chased around by this old guy after school. Other stuff Kid Nobara got up to was finding people's houses and claiming it as a secret hideout. I thought she was gonna show a treehouse or something. Kid Nobara is a demon. Someone actually lives in that hideout, but from my point of view it looks like the resident of that house found some prime suspects for some Gojo the senior grooming action. The villagers didn't like Saori. Some say it's because she's a city girl, but I think they clocked onto her devious grooming activities, so they vandalized her house to the point where she was like, which made Nobara cry. When Nobara got older, she finally left the projects to go to Tokyo, which is basically her dream. Then Fumi and Nobara had a tearful farewell. You guys didn't fall asleep listening to that backstory recap, right? Because I was struggling rewatching that lame ass backstory. Nothing bad even really happened to Nobara when you think about it. What is she bitching about? Okay, your friend got bullied, is that it? Give me my 5 minutes back. That was an insanely useless backstory. After the flashback, the POV goes back to current Saori, and I can't lie, I'm surprised she even remembers Nobara and Fumi. It's very thoughtful and convenient how she randomly just thinks about Nobara right there and then. It's not like that's another extremely obvious red flag for something bad to happen. At this point, there was no doubt in my mind that Gege was about to go on deeming time once again. So when Nobara died, and exploded right in front of Itadori, no one was really surprised. It is crazy how Mahito can kill people with a single touch. When will Itadori's suffering end? If I was Yuji, I wouldn't be able to continue fighting at this point. How many weekly episode tragedies can one man take? Calm down, Gege. The guy's like 16. Give him a break, you sociopath. No wonder bro was just staring. What else could he do? He might turn into a vegetable from all that mental trauma. It's gotten to the point where I'm not even looking forward to the next Jujutsu Kaisen episode. I'm dreading it. So many characters that I like are getting swatted down like flies. It's like Gege spins a wheel to choose who he's gonna pack next. Itadori might as well commit suicide at this point. Mahito and Sukuna completely cooked little bro. Make sure to subscribe. We're pretty close to 100 subscribers and I'd like to hit it by the end of the year. It would mean a lot to me, and I'll see you in the next video.